What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Overwatch Coach VOD review. Today we're going to be VOD reviewing a trio, but we're going to be focusing on the support player who is named Archangel 2. They write, "My friends and I were force stacking for the end of the season grind, and we had one game on Blizzard World where I have no clue if we could have won with the guy still throwing." He gives the names of his groups: Snapple Apple, The Boy 5, and Ali, with him being Archangel. And he plays Zenyatta in round 1, and then Moira in round 2. Obviously, the map is Blizzard World, as we can see. The match rank was Silver 2 to Plat 3. That's a big skill range of players there. They also write, "Also, support is not my main. I play more tank and DPS, which are Diamond 5 and Plat 5 respectively. 5 and Ali are both high Plat Diamond in at least 2 roles, and Snapple is a low gold player, silver player. We've been playing as a team for almost a year, so we tried to coordinate as best we could to win, but I don't think any of us could have done better." All right, well, let's watch the game, and I'll coach to the best of my abilities here. So the guy that isn't in your group is the tank, okay, so that, no, that's not right. It's Unzolo. Okay, so one of your DPS is the guy. Okay, gotcha. All right, so getting to my pen. All right, so this is the X factor. So X starts out going Cassidy. So, all right, just to start, I like to usually focus on the team comp a little bit. It's very interesting that you're grouping with a ball player. Ball is probably the weakest tank in the game right now, probably. I mean, it's some of it's going to depend on what you're up against. You could say Reinhardt could be pretty weak. He's pretty easily counterable. Winston can be very strong, but he's also another very counterable tank. But just to point it out there, though, that like Ball is an interesting hero choice. He can be good, but he's another easily counterable tank. So playing Zen with Ball isn't bad. I don't know if I would go Zen here with your Ball on defense. It might be more of an attack move, maybe. I like playing Brig with mobile tanks that, like, say, for example, Doomfist. I probably would have gone Brig here with your Hammond just because I would expect the enemy team to be diving, and them coming to you means you could whip shot and generate extra healing off of that. But judging by what they're going here, that might have actually not worked in your favor. I'm speaking as if I don't know what's coming at you, but obviously what we know is coming at you. Zen might actually work here. So who I would be looking at for discording would be Bastion when available, or Moira. What's going on there? Moira. Why is my mouse skipping around there? Moira would be another one that would be worth looking to Discord orb. Obviously, your Junker Queen is going to be a Discord target. The only thing with Junker Queen, she's like the skinniest tank in the game. A little bit harder to hit. And it's going to just depend on the aim of your Mei and your Cassidy to really get value off of that. Because I would expect your Hammond to be going after the Moira, or whatever this DPS is potentially. We still don't actually know what they're going here. And we're 3 seconds into the game. That's when we're going to start it here. So, but I would be looking for you to Discord orb the Bastion number 1, Moira number 2, Junker Queen number 3, in this case, with a caveat being whatever DPS this is going to be. Let's see what we get here when they pick Widow. So yeah, that would stay. I wouldn't. You're not going to be in range to Discord orb a Widow unless they go really out of range here. So first thing to notice, your healing orb isn't on anything right now. Why is that? You need your healing orb on somebody who's engaging. Just to, like, your Mei is frontlining. Your Mei is in a rough spot. like, she's putting herself in a rough spot, especially putting that wall down. She's using a lot of her cooldown abilities that just don't need to really be used here. But that healing orb should be on her. Or it should have been on the ball who's engaging. The other thing I want to say is I'm not a fan of engaging this deep into the enemy's spawn territory. Because say you get a pick here. They spawn like right where you get the pick. Like say you get the pick right in this general area, their spawn's right back there. Whereas if one of you die, you got to walk all the way back there, come all the way down and all the way back here just to get back into the fight. And that's assuming the fight stays here, which it probably won't. So the punishment on a defensive side of you dying versus if they die there, it's not an even trade-off. Where you're fighting at, that's really where you guys should be poking at. Like your Mei should be back here poking. I'm okay with your Hammond going in and doing little dive, hit and run guerrilla warfare tactic there, but your Mei is overcommitting. So at this point now, you're essentially the front line because you can't really count Hammond as a frontline tank. You're essentially frontlining here because your Cassidy is on the high ground. Your healing orb isn't on anything still, but you need to back all the way back. Like you need to be running as soon as your Mei died. Excuse me. Okay, good kill. This is not a fight you want to be taking here. You need to... the kick was good. Having the Discord orb on him is good. But once you kicked, you need to try to back off and make space for yourself. Because that bought you a little room. Make more room for yourself and start backing off. This isn't a fight. I mean, you do have your Ana with you. Hopefully your Ana kind of pockets you. Let's just take a quick look at what they're looking at here. Good anti. But yeah, see, your Ana kind of had your back, but not really. She kind of got off of you once the nade went off, just thinking you would be fine, but she was probably expecting you to back off. And it didn't help you got naded, or not naded, but you got knifed and yanked forward. But some of that has to do with your earlier positioning, where when I said back off as soon as the Mei died, had you have done that, you probably wouldn't have been engaged in this fight to begin with. So we're going to skip ahead until you get back. So where the Cassidy is at would not be the worst place in the world for you to have tried to come back into the fight at. Just taking the high ground and, you know, moving your orb around, moving the Discord orb around, taking a few pot shots and then falling back so that you don't take damage of your own. That kind of a thing. I would be looking for that. Otherwise, hanging back maybe in this area. If your 4-stack is communicating with each other, then you might kind of know where they're coming from, which is going to be here, which is why I said come up here, because then you can always fall back down to here and then circumvent back, transitioning to the point and then back to where the Ana is. But right now, where you're at, you don't really have a line of sight of anything. And the only person that needs healing, you're kind of in a position to heal if you just scoot over a little bit. Let's see if you do that. You do. That's good. Okay, now, yeah, see, you're in a position again now to get knife forward. And now you're frontlined and killed. And this is where I say playing Brig might have been a little bit more beneficial because it gives you a shield to play with. Because you don't have that tank frontlining for you when you're playing with a Hammond. You're getting picked frequently here. Dying twice already is not good as a support. If you're a DPS or a fast-moving support, this might not be so bad, but as a Zenyatta, you can't die. It's all about positioning when you play Zen. And sometimes taking an aggressive approach, but being willing to immediately fall back can be beneficial. Had you have taken that high ground, like I said, but then immediately had like that escape route of dropping down and then like maybe going back inside the doorway or falling back down through to the point into your Ana. You know, it depends on how they want to pursue you, if they even try to pursue you versus the Cassidy, that kind of a thing. So right here, okay, you get back, you got your healing orb on your tank. Your tank's very low. He's going to have to go to the Mega. So your healing orb doesn't really play a factor here, which is kind of goes back to what I was trying to say about, is Zen really the right play here? It doesn't, it helps your tank if you're staying alive and keeping the healing orb on him throughout the entirety of the match, but just getting back and getting the healing orb on him, it doesn't do anything for this. Now, if you were Brig, you quick throw 3 armor packs at him. Now he's maybe at half health. Maybe he's got his cooldown to generate his shield. He comes in, pile drives, generates his shield, and now suddenly he's got a whole bunch of health. Maybe you get a whip shot in and you start generating some passive healing for him and you kind of keep him going a little bit more. That's where I was coming from with maybe Brig might be a better choice here. But let's see how this plays out. He's probably, if your Hammond is smart here, he's going to completely just fall back, get the Mega that's off to the room over here. And then if he still has time to do it, he'll grapple back in and try to contest with you, keeping him up until the rest of your team gets back to try to actually, you know, take the fight back or take the point back. But I don't think you guys are going to have that kind of time to do that. And I'll also say, while he goes to the health pack, you can't get picked. So you need to back all the way back and just be patient and wait for him. Let's see how this goes here. This is not a fight you need to be taking. This is where I was saying you need to back all the way off. Okay, so when the Junker Queen got slept, you charging up shots is fine, but get the Discord orb on her first, and when you charge up the shots, try to line up headshots. I'm feeling like you're very stressed out here and you're kind of in a frantic mental state. So calm down. You gotta, 1, calm down a little bit, but 2, assuming you're in a frantic mental state, that's just kind of what I'm getting from your play here. But 2, you gotta stop frontlining this Junker Queen, because every time she gets that knife into you and brings you closer to her, you're in an even worse positioning spot than you were to begin with. And you're dead again. 3 times now, this Junker Queen has fed off of you. Yeah, again, you're way too far forward here. So, all right, let's back up a bit. Okay, let's just stop it right here. All right, so we can assume you guys tried to contest the point. You died. The rest of them fought, died, and didn't take the point, obviously. So, okay, you were the first to respawn because you got caught in another position where you frontlined the tank and paid the price for it. So with you being the first one to respawn, you have to wait for your team to respawn. Wait for them to get back into the fight. Wait for them to engage, and then you can participate. You're doing the waiting part, but you're too far forward, because what happens after they take the point? 4 of them are going to start moving up and taking space. 1 of them is going to push the cart. So what do you think is going to happen when you're this far forward and the rest of them are moving up? You've got 4 people on the enemy team moving up right now, looking to take space, and you're frontlining. You're too far forward. You're way too far forward. So, like, look where your team is. Your Ana is nowhere near you. Hammond could obviously get to you if he knew to get to you, but would he have really been able to save you? Not really. And your Reaper is way off back here, and your Cassidy is respawning. So you're frontlining as Zenyatta. Every time you've died, you've been frontlining as Zenyatta, and you've paid the price for it every time. And that's what's going to happen here. And as a support, you cannot die first. You just can't. If you do that, you're putting your team at a huge disadvantage, and you're putting your teammate Ali at a really rough spot. Like, you're asking Ali to basically solo heal here. All because of this. Like, if you had your tank in front of you, say, for example, a Reinhardt, maybe a Zarya, maybe a Sigma, something like that, and they were in front of you a little bit, then this might not be so punishable, but it's just you here. So, okay, you don't die because of your positioning, but look what happens now. You waste your ultimate just so that you don't die. This ultimate is a waste. And it's wasted because of your positioning. This ultimate should be used for Soldier ultimate. Maybe Moira ultimate, maybe. Moira ultimate would be like if your whole team's low, you could maybe win the team fight, but suddenly the Moira pops ult to try to just pick everybody off all at the same time because maybe they're all low, and then you maybe pop Trance. But generally speaking, you want to pop your Trance for that Soldier ultimate because Lucio ult and Zenyatta ult are defensive ultimates 9 times out of 10. You might use it to push in and be aggressive maybe, but generally speaking, you want to use these two ultimates to counteract an offensive ultimate like Soldier's ult, maybe Reaper's ultimate, maybe Torbjorn's ultimate. I don't know. There's only ones I can think of at the moment. There's other ones. Genji would be another big one. Maybe like a Hanzo ult paired with Grav, something like that. You know, but this Trance is a defensive ultimate, and these would be good ones to look at for countering it, because you can't counter Junker Queen's ult with it because, you know, the anti-heal. Mercy's would be a complete waste, and Sombra's is more likely than not going to be a waste to use that ult for. But Soldier's would be a great one to wait until he pops ultimate, and then you go to whoever he's shooting at, and suddenly he can't kill anything. This here is just you using it because you over-positioned yourself too far forward again. And you're frontlining this tank, but because there's a bunch of chaos going on, and because she couldn't kill anything and the Reaper kind of whittled her down, you know, it worked out this time. But you still don't want to be that far forward on your tank, or the enemy tank. And because of your being so far forward, the Moira was able to kill you. Okay, so now we're going Moira Brig. So, okay, yeah, Brig. This goes kind of back to what I was saying before.
Where there's smoke, there's
oh, we're going back to Zen again. Okay, I don't know that I would like Brig Zen here. That's going be, and the reason why I say that is because you've been dying so much. Brig can't solo heal this team by herself. Just, it's can't happen. If you're staying alive on Zen and not dying and positioning yourself in ways so that that healing orb is maintaining throughout entirities of fights, maybe this could work, but it's asking a lot. If you are going to try to make this team composition work, what you're going to really want to be looking to do is keeping the healing orb. Obviously, you want to move the healing orb around. That's going to be priority number 1. But priority number 2 is keeping your Brig aggressive. So the second your Brig is in a position where she needs to start swinging the mace to start generating healing, starting to kind of get a little forward to maybe get a whip shot in, or just swinging in general, or maybe she gets dived, Brig is going to be your number one healing target. That's number one, because if your Brig goes down, you can't keep your team alive as Zenyatta unless you have Trance, which you don't. So healing priority number one when Brig needs it is she needs the orb. After that, then it's whoever's low and is engaging. So at this point, you know, Hammond. And again, this is a positioning problem, you dying here. So what I would have suggested, you could have done one of two things. The first thing I would suggest is when you were entering the fight, take high ground and hang out around either right here or right here. It would have just kind of depended at what, when you went up here, what you would have seen. But trying to take a high ground spot with cover would have been good. If you weren't comfortable being high ground, then play back either back here or behind this. But playing back here gives you cover. But instead, you're out in the open. So let's look at what the enemy's seeing. See how all of you guys are just out in the open? Like, you don't have a tank that can frontline for you, so your positioning is paramount here, right? You don't have that big shield in front of you. You don't have a Reinhardt in front of you, or a Sigma, or even a Ramatra shield. So as soon as he pops ultimate, the world is his oyster. He's got everything in front of him. I mean, that Brig shield's about to crack and she's low. And then after that, you know, Reaper is right there if cooldown, but obviously he's going to go for you. And you're dead. And actually, he didn't even completely go for you. So, you know, it was actually the Sombra that finished you off. But again, had you have played back further, you might have been able to survive that. It's not to say the Sombra wouldn't have dove you back there. She probably would have anyway. But it's about not dying to the soldier ultimate, because this isn't high level gameplay that we're seeing here. You're dying to really simple stuff. Okay, so now you're on Moira. Let's rewind just a little bit here because I feel like we missed something. Okay.
Minefield deployed. Efficiency rating maximum danger.
So the one issue I'll take with you going to Moira does not heal dive tanks very well. And you're still dealing with a dive tank, and he's doing fairly well at the moment. The mines worked out well. However, Moira's a short range healer, short to mid range. Depending on the map, you might be able to heal Hammond okay. Map specific. This map's fairly open. Third point's a little bit more closed off. So you might be able to heal Hammond a little bit better on the third part of this map, but you're still technically on the second part yet. So I guess maybe you're just thinking about how it'll go on the third point, but this doesn't synergize well with somebody you're grouped with. Healers that are good for dealing with having a Hammond on your team, first of all, I like Brig. Zen can work if you're staying alive on him, but you weren't. After that, it just kind of depends on your skill set. Kiriko can be good. Ana can be good if your positioning is good and your aim is good. Mercy can be okay. Those would probably be the supports that I would suggest. Bap can be good depending on the map. Heal your Brig, heal your Brig. That was a good teleport to get out of Junker Queen ultimate. However, try to heal your Brig, keep your Brig up. The one thing I will say, just because you are dealing with the Junker Queen, and you have a ball on your team, I think Kiriko would really have been the better pick here. I think Kiriko would have helped heal your ball in range situations, and when Junker Queen ults, throw your Suzu down, your E ability, and suddenly Junker Queen doesn't have an ultimate. Same thing with Sombra. If you see Sombra hacking Hammond, throw your cleanse down, suddenly he's not hacked anymore. Those are two big reasons why Kiriko would have been the better swap in my opinion. I don't think you're really going to get good value here on Moira.
Acknowledge. Got it. Thank you. Be nourished. Loud and clear.
This is not... No. You're frontlining on support again. This is dangerous. Don't use your teleport to engage. Use it to get out. See, now you're frontlining a tank, and you don't have an escape route. Yeah, and you just did it again. This is overextending. You're asking to die here. I don't know what... I'm not really sure what's going through your head here to say, I can engage this tank and get value, kill the tank, and still live. The tank's being healed. The tank could easily just turn around and kill you, especially with the Moira right there, because they could just help. I'm betting you should die here. You should. Okay, your Brig bailed you out, and it looked like your Junker Queen either kind of fiddled too much with their aim, or maybe their cooldowns were low. That what you did there, and you surviving, anything, if you thought anything good came of that, you're punishing yourself with bad habits off of a low-level, wide variety of game. Because you said this was Silver 2 to Plat 3. So when you're in these wide lobbies, you're getting a wide range of skill gap. And I don't know what the tank is. Do you happen to say what the tank was? Let's see, your tank is 5. So the two tanks in this game should be in the high plat to low diamond range. If that's the case, the enemy tank, I'm surprised they didn't punish you more there. Maybe there isn't a communication thing and they didn't notice you right away or something, but you should have died there. I don't know if I liked you teleporting to your Bastion. You could have just threw the healing orb in there and let it bounce around, and then it would have eventually came out. You ulting here is... it's okay, I guess. It's a 4-on-5. You having the 5. The Mercy's in easy range to kill, and then after that you can kind of whittle down the Mei, who will probably have a cooldown. Okay, you get the Mercy, that's good. And now, okay, so now you gotta heal your Brig, which you do. Okay, yeah, that worked out, I'd say. You need to heal, though. Like, you're waiting for the Mei to come out. Throw some healing spray out there, just, you know, because you got some people to top off. But yeah, that Mercy res on the Mei was a feeding res. That was not a good res on their part. Honestly, I think you could have saved that ultimate. I think you could have got more value off of it had you have just waited on it. But I've seen worse Moira ults. But it could have been a little better. Yep, whittle down this. Okay, Sombra left. Get back to your team now. Get back to your team. Keep in mind, like, okay, there was a role change here when you went Moira and your other support went Brig. That we should probably talk about really quick here. So when you were Zen, you were the off support. So it allowed you to maybe, you know, your job isn't necessarily to be the primary healer for your tank. You were allowed to maybe kind of do a little bit more damage, try to play a little bit more aggressive. But when they went Brig and you went to Moira, you became main heals, and they are now the off support. So that means your responsibility to the team has changed a little bit. So I'm fine with you peeling for the Bastion. That was good, what you did there. However, you stayed a little overcommitted to dealing with the Sombra and not getting back to your tank, and now your tank's in trouble. This could have been circumvented a little bit more, just getting on your tank a little quicker. Okay, good kill on the Mei. This is all fine here. So the only thing I would have said to maybe have done a little differently here, throw the healing orb, bounce it in a way so that it stays with your team. So like maybe right here, or bounce it like in the corner so that it bounces back, you know, this way. And then from there, you can just right click the way you're doing. That way you're still healing your team a little bit, keeping them topped off, keeping the Orisa with armor, that sort of a thing, and then you just right click and get your damage in. That would have been the only thing I would have done differently here. Okay, this is no, whatever you think you're doing here, this is bad. You just overcommitted into the enemy spawn, and you on top of that used your escape route to be able to get out of a bad position like this, to get into the bad position. This is terrible positioning here. There's no sugarcoating this. This is not good positioning in any way, shape, or form. This is not good. Yeah, this, I don't know what you thought you were doing here, but this is a throw what you did here. Like, this is, if I'm being brutally honest with you, which is what I hope you're looking for, if I were the Cassidy in your game, I would have gave you a gameplay sabotage intentional feeding report off of that play right there alone, not counting the other overstepping frontlining plays you were doing on Zenyatta. This felt like you were intentionally feeding here. Like, and right here too with the enemy tank, I don't know what they think they're doing here. Like, this is like what I was just harping on you about. Now we could say it about the Junker Queen, because they're alone on top of that. Like, they're completely alone. So, and they're in your spawn. Like, why are people playing like this is just beyond me. This honestly, like, all right. I want to let this game like play out so we can just kind of keep things moving. But let me do one more thing speaking to this point, and then we'll move on from it. But again, going back to it being Plat 3, Silver 2 to Plat 3, if this is something you're seeing a lot in your games where people are just like over committing to like these frontlining positions, like kind of like what the Junker Queen just did and what we've been seeing you do. If this is something you commonly see in your games, you're learning bad habits from allowing this wide range of players in one lobby. And because of these bad habits being like, they're maybe being ingrained into you because maybe in other games you're getting away with it, where here maybe you're not as much, maybe because you're in a force stack with some higher level players, but you're all of this overextending is just strange to me. I don't know why people are doing this, other than like bad habits are being enforced because of it's a wide range of players in a game. But if you're seriously looking to climb, your positioning has a lot of room for improvement. Okay, so focusing the Mercy's good. Heal your... a little late there. A little late there. Okay, this went... really south really quickly. So, okay, remember what I said now. You're the main healer. So you got to keep healing at the forefront, damage at the second. Like if your other support were playing Baptiste, Ana, maybe even Mercy, you could maybe be doing a little bit more of the DPSing support side of things, but remember, you got to be the healer first and the damage support second in a comp like this, because they're still on Brig. Now, I will say, as a caveat to this, being Brig at this stage of the game, I don't think I'm really a fan of anymore because your tank went to Orisa. So I would be looking at Kiriko. I would be looking at Ana. I would maybe even be looking at maybe even an Alari, just because they're not running any shields or anything. And I don't really see anything that would really counter an Alari. Alari could work here, assuming their aim is good, which I don't know if it is or not. But just throwing out there some suggestions since I know you're grouped with the other support. But I don't think Brig at this stage of the game is really the play anymore. So anyway, okay, you see the Mercy going for the res, and you try to pick them off. And this I'm okay with. Right now, you're fine. But this is where it ends. As soon as she escapes all of that and she loses your line of sight, you need to keep your head on a swivel and start looking around. What's happening to your team? And what's happening to your team is you've got 2 people low that need healing, and they're not getting it. If we look, let's back up. So you're turned around on everybody. Your Brig is engaging, and I'm not really sure what damaged your Sojourn, but she's low, and now she's about to be dealing with a Mercy pocket. So your Brig's about to die because your Brig is getting gunned down by Moira Ultimate. And you know what would have counteracted that? If you turned around the second you realized that Mercy got away and started healing your Brig. And suddenly this becomes a bad ult because your Brig would have kept you up, hopefully. Hopefully. I'm assuming your Brig would have made the right play. And then you would have kept your Brig alive, and then you would have just been able to tank this damage and nothing would have came of it, outside of maybe the Sojourn getting whittled down depending on what happens to them. But had you have turned around, maybe spray the Sojourn a little bit, and then you two just eat the damage. But instead, she dies, Sojourn dies, and now you're just in this chaotic mess where suddenly you got engulfed in a situation where you thought you were in your own backline, and suddenly your backline became the front line. And the other thing I want to say is it would have been nice to have seen your tank fall back quicker. Knowing that you guys are a 4-stack, where was the communication here? Like, tell your tank to fall back and help, because they seemed oblivious to what was going on here. Like, if this were just 5 randoms playing together, this is kind of what I would have expected to see a little bit more. Knowing this is a 4-stack, there seems to be a communication lapse going on here. If you guys are like talking in a Discord or something, keep those comms going. Tell your tank where you need them to be. And then they get the point and there's no more fighting. So let's move on here, because I know I've been talking a lot, but you know, there's been a lot of stuff to cover here. Okay, so let's talk team comp real quick here, because it looks like it's changing. Okay, so I see what you're saying about the other DPS throwing, because we're, you know, already 15 seconds into the game and he hasn't picked yet. But okay, we know they go Cassidy again, so we'll just write Cass. So, all right, number 1, this is a bad pick. Don't pick Brig here. Why don't pick Brig here? Because it's very unlikely the enemy team is going to be playing dive when you're the ones that have to engage them. So playing Brig here is going to leave them in a world of hurt for being able to get whip shots. If they're really good at getting whip shots, fine. Like, okay, so be it. The one thing you got going is they're not running a shield. So if their aim is good with whip shotting, okay, they can generate some healing. But you've got a frontline tank. Play around that. Play Baptiste. Play Alari. Play Zen. Play Ana. Play, I don't know. I don't like the Brig pick here. I'm okay with the Moira pick. Moira on attack, Blizzard World with what you got. You know, you're running a tank that can synergize well with Moira. I'm totally cool with that. I'm not totally loving the Mei pick, but if they're good with Mei, if they play Mei a lot, then they'll make it work, which then at that point I'm fine with. But I'm not in love with the Mei pick, but you know, if they're a Mei main, they'll make it work. But I would totally say wherever the Brig is, I don't see them, but wherever Brig is, look at a different support in this case here. The only reason I would really like Brig in this case is if you know the enemy team's going to be diving. So, okay, you're losing your tank. Make sure you're staying around, make sure you're staying behind them. So if we back up, you're staying behind him, you're staying behind him, you lose them. And on top of that, while you're right clicking, if you're, let's rewind this. So, okay, if you're right clicking a support or a DPS here, I'd be fine with you doing a right click, but you're not. You're doing it on a tank. Both supports are alive. Your tank is taking damage. You're also the main heals versus a Brig who needs to save their armor packs for DPS players. You should be healing here. Keep your tank in the armor as much as you can. Like right here, heal them. Throw a healing orb out if you have it, which you don't yet. But if you did, I would say throw it. Like if you had a healing orb out, you could right click a bit and get away with it, but you don't. So spray until you got the healing orb and then let them continue engaging with the healing orb. And then you can either right click or spray depending on how much damage the tank is taking. But you're allowing your tank to get low here. And because of the way you just took, you started the front line again. And then you had to use your teleport to get away from being a front line. And now you've lost your tank again. So now what has happened is Brig probably just used all their armor packs to keep your tank aggressive, but what your Brig should be doing is using these armor packs on Mei, using them on Cassidy if the Cassidy weren't AFK this whole time. And you should be the one focusing on healing the tank. That should be the division of labor here. Your Brig should be healing the squishies. You should be healing the tank, and then bleed over to the DPS if they start taking a lot of damage and the Brig can't keep them up, that kind of a thing. So again, you're a little too worried about DPSing a little bit, but here's the thing right now that I'm seeing. This DPS has a line of sight on you, and you are at half health. Play either behind the shield, or you could teleport once you have it to right here and then spray a little bit behind the shield and then get back and play cover. You're not playing cover very well. That was a good teleport, though. Good way to take space, but I'm a little surprised that soldier didn't try to kill you. If that soldier had a grenade, he could have killed you. It looked like he was a little focused on the Mei. Could you have done anything about that? Yeah, you could have. You could have. Hold on. Let's take a bird's eye view for a second of this fight. Why aren't you healing your Mei? You're right there. Look around. Put your head on a swivel. Okay, you know your Cassidy's AFK, raging, whatever the hell's going on. But the four of you are right here. You can see Ramatra. You know where he is. You know Briggs over here. What should be going on in your head is, wait a minute, where's my Mei? Oh, they're right behind me at half health. I can heal them. But you don't. And then you take a teleport to take space and dive the Ashe, but suddenly now the Mei's not being healed. They're in a bad spot. I don't like, they're doing the same thing I just got done chastising you about taking on a soldier with no cover, which is another conversation, but you should have healed them first. Like, they should be at full health rather than half health or close to it, 60%, and then they just die. The other issue I take there is they didn't even seem to know the soldier was over there, and they just killed him for free, basically. But you should have healed them.
A taste of poison.
Okay, so albeit off of all of what I just got done saying, at least you killed the Ashe, so you did kind of make it a semi-even fight again, assuming the Cassidy's coming back. Okay, bad teleport. You just teleported basically into the front line. You're, again, like right next to the Junker Queen, which is a position you've been in all game, which, for the most part, you've put yourself in all game. So, what should you have done?
A taste of poison.
Okay, what you should have done...
A taste of poison.
Okay. What you should have done is, if you're going to, if what's going on in your head right now is, I got to get back to my tank. What you should have done is, if you're going to teleport, which I'm not, it's like 50-50 if you should or not. It all depends on if you were tracking if the soldier's got his grenade or not, which I haven't been. So let's just see if he's got it. He does not. So, where are you? You're number 2. So in that case, your tank is fine, but so I guess you could try to take this fight, but you don't. You want to get out. So what you should do, okay, if that's what's going through your head here, is let me get out and use my teleport to get out. I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is where you came out of your teleport. What you should have done is went into here. Come into here. And then once you're in here, let's just pretend you're in here like what I would have done if that were my thinking. Okay. You throw your healing orb. Where's my pen? Out this way. It's going to heal your brig. And by the time it gets to your tank, you'll need it more. And suddenly you've just topped off your brig and your tank, or kept him being aggressive, while you're in a completely safe spot. You're not taking damage back here. Worst case scenario, the Junker Queen sees you in here and tries to throw her knife at you. But then as soon as you see that, you take the knife, assuming you were not able to dodge it. You could just go right here, and then she'll pull it back, and you'll just get pushed into the wall. You'll be bleeding a little bit, damage over time effect, but then you're back here, and you should be safe again. And if absolute necessary, Brig, you could just say, I need healing. Brig turns around, quick throws you an armor pack, and you're good back here. But what you do is you go into the front line, and you take a crazy amount of damage, and it just gets chaotic, and all hell breaks loose. So let's go back to you here. So, I mean, again, okay, 2 things here. One, your tank needs healing, but this is a fight you guys should have gotten out of, like, as soon as the brig died, really. Like, your tank's not going to be able to get out. You might have been able to, but honestly, anything here is just feeding. Like, you guys really gotta just get out and regroup. Okay, not really sure why it took you that long to heal him, but that should have came a lot quicker there. No, this is not a good ult. You're in a group, so communicate with your tank. Just stop for a second. Let me catch up to you, and I'll heal you. This is gameplay I would kind of expect to see more if this were just 5 randoms not talking to each other. If you're in a group, talk, communicate. Tell your tank, hey, you're a little too far forward. I'm not with you yet. Then he'll wait. Then you'll top him off. And then you can use your ultimate in a less reactive way and more in a selective way. Because, like, imagine if you were in this position and you still had your ultimate, and suddenly now, like, they all start getting low from the Ramatra ult. But let's say the enemy Moira pops ult, and suddenly now there's like a bunch of damage being dealt. There's some being healed, and then you could pop yours and start keeping your tank being aggressive if he starts getting low, or if people on the enemy team start getting half, you could whittle them down and finish them off, as opposed to how you had used it. But it looks like you're going to win this fight. Okay, good kill on the Mercy. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. Boy, you love frontlining tanks. This was a situation... Okay, so 2 things there. The Sombra kind of bailed you out with the hack, but I think the Junker Queen was kind of in a frantic mental state, and you were in a position to be punished there. A better Junker Queen player punishes you there, I think. Unless your team's kind of backing you up, but they weren't. Like, the Brig stayed back to cap the point, your tank stayed back to cap the point. So unless, like, the Sombra, like, really kind of bailed you out a second time, like, you could have died in that room there. Could have. Don't engage that, which you decided not to, which is good, but I don't think you needed to teleport back to your team there. So this is a wasted ability, so if you get in trouble, suddenly now you don't have an escape route, which you kind of don't. So, like, the one thing I would say here is, like, hug this wall, hug close, because if the Ashe is taking high ground, number 1, ping the Ashe. I haven't really been noticing pings this game either, so make sure you're pinging things, but hug this wall so that the Ashe can't really punish you, and then ping the Ashe. Let people know that she's up there so that people can try to do something about that. Again, this is where Kiriko would be a huge play here, because you're all clumped together, which is good if you had Kiriko, because now all of a sudden you throw down an E, you're all cleansed, and Junker Queen has no ultimate. Like, the ult for Junker Queen does not exist if you have Kiriko. So why you guys aren't doing Kiriko, why you're not counter picking a little bit more here is kind of questionable to me. It's weird.
An eldritch blessing. You will be renewed.
Yeah, good. That's a good Mei wall. Okay, good. You're focusing on. Okay, get on Mercy. Well, actually, wait. Yeah, you should be healing your Orisa. Sorry, and I started getting tunnel visioned on the Mercy just like you kind of did. But yeah, heal your tank. Heal your tank. Okay, as soon as she dropped down there with the Mercy pocket, just let him go. Let him go. Don't fight this. Okay, all right, your team. Okay, I'm hoping the one thing that I'm not picking up on is maybe there was a call out, a communication saying push the Junker Queen, because I didn't. Based on what I'm seeing from your line of sight, I didn't see your team pushing with you. If your team's pushing with you, what you did is fine. I just didn't. I wasn't sure if they were doing that or not. I could have looked, I guess, but I'm trying to let some of this play out. I've been pausing quite a bit. And this is getting long at this point, so I'm trying to let some of this play out a little bit. Yeah, okay, so I can tell you kind of don't know where to be right now. I think teleporting to the position you were at is fine here because this is not a good Moira ult. So what I would say here is you're about to have your healing orb. Throw your healing orb like right here and then just go push the cart because I don't think anything. I think your Orisa can handle whatever is coming their way, and if they can't, they should just fall back at this point to you and the cart. That's how I would read this. Okay, good. Now go to the cart, push it. Yep. Okay, good. Oh, wait, what happened to the orb? Wait, what? Wait, what? Just, I'm confused. What happened to, why did the orb, what?
Into darkness.
Wait, what did I just see? Okay, I'm losing it. What is this? What am I seeing? Oh, is it? Oh, that's the enemy Moira healing orb. Okay, I'm not totally losing it. Okay, so what I would tell you to do here is push the cart and have your tank fall back. This is a little too far forward in my opinion. Where is your Sombra? Yeah, okay. I mean, your Sombra is okay here. Unless there's a call out being said like, hey, I've got EMP, let's push in on this. Which I can't tell if there is or not. If there is, that's different. That was not how to do that. This is poorly executed. You should be able to kill the Moira though, but okay, what I would have been looking for here, unless something happened, I want to just see this from her perspective once. Okay, your Sombra gets away. What I would, just to cover this a little bit, your Sombra needs to get back and go back to being invisible. And as soon as they're invisible, then you can drop down an EMP. But this is a missed opportunity. Yeah, unless they were just pressing, and maybe they couldn't for some reason. I don't know, but let's try to stay focused on. Okay, bad orb. That orb, either bounce it here or bounce it into them there. That's what I would have been looking for there. The Moira's low. Okay, Moira's dead. Heal. You guys are getting a little too chaotic here. See, this is what I was saying. That EMP wasn't worth engaging in on unless you picked off the Moira and then the team fight just completely went in your favor, which it didn't. And Moira lived longer than they should have. Heal, 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 heal. Yeah, you're too focused on doing damage.
Resurrection. How vile.
Did not need to use that healing orb. They weren't that low. You could give a couple sprays and then just fall back and wait until your team's together.
We gonna move the payload or what?
Reforming you. Your pain will be endless. Our company. That's much better.
A better damage orb? Okay, okay, so think about it this way. You see the soldiers right there, right? But the way you throw the damage orb, it's right on top of them. What you got to do is predict their movement a little bit so that the orb stays with them. They're not going to continue going into the back line. They're going to fall back once they see you. So they're either going to go into here or they're going to go back this way. I would expect them to go into this room. So what I would do is probably bounce it like right here so that it bounces this way. But even if they go this way, it's going to follow them a lot longer than your orb does. But try to throw that orb in a direction they're going to be going, so that orb does, you get more value out of it. Because I'm fine with you doing what you're doing here, but that orb doesn't get much value. The play of the damage orb was correct. The placement, it was not. So once he's at this spot and the orb isn't on him along with you right-clicking him, he's gone. You're not going to finish that off. So start healing the Orisa, like right about here, like right here.
Time for the reckoning.
Yeah, so, okay, good. You got the Kiriko now. And look, they cleansed when they ulted, and now there's no ultimate. So that's good you guys got to this point. Should have happened a lot sooner, though. Yeah, more mental focus on healing here.
Eyes open now. Meet your fate. I've got you in my sight. Receive my aid. I require assistance. You cannot escape me.
TikTok, if we're hoping to win, now's the time. Soy intocable.
Your pain will be endless. Preparing yourself.
Damage orb here would be okay if you threw one into them. This is nitpicky, but I would have looked for you to do that a little bit sooner, just so you would have gotten another orb out, your next orb out quicker. Good healing orb, I like it.
The dead ought to have been so.
60 seconds.
I'm okay with that damage orb. That will help you kind of replenish your healing juice. Right now, what you're doing, I like. You're healing a little bit more.
Recover your strength. Rise, ancient flame.
So that healing orb, I'm guessing you thought it would bounce off the May wall. The only issue I would take with that is you could tell they were shooting the May wall because it was cracking already. And you ended up, like, the wall went down by the time that orb hit, so it didn't bounce back to your team. I think that's what you were thinking, though, that it would bounce back. But they were shooting that wall. You could see that. So it's a little bit more attention to detail there.
You cannot escape me. Let go. Surrender.
Heal your team, heal your team, heal your team.
Double kill. My ultimate 30 seconds remaining.
The thing that's helping right now is because your other support, when Kiriko, they can kind of circumvent some of the times when you get a little too tunnel visioned into doing damage. Because if they were still on Brig, for example, you might have lost teammates there. Okay, good. That's a time where moving up into their spawn is okay because the cart is so close to just ending the round anyway. So that's okay.
Mission. Your pain will be endless.
So aside from your random DPS being really slow to pick, I haven't noticed them throwing. I mean, maybe I'm just not seeing something, but without watching them, I mean, aside from that, I haven't seen anything obvious that they've been doing, but so I'm not really sure where, you know, the frustration from them comes from yet. Okay, yeah, so your May is a little too far forward. Focus on your right clicking a little bit more. Take some more space.
Eyes open.
Because, like, this is overtime defense. You have to... The one thing I'll say here is unless as a team, you're overcommitting to, like, holding that choke, this choke right here, unless as a team you're saying that, which in this case you guys aren't, you cannot die until the fight comes to the point. Like, this is where you guys should be fighting at. What is going on here? Oh, wedgie. Sorry. Wait, this might have to be the screenshot. Hold on. Let's screenshot this. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, this is not good. You're frontlining again. And if you were Zen, you'd be dead here. At least, see, so like Moira is enabling a bad habit because you could teleport out of it. Just because you could do that doesn't mean you should be doing that. That was unnecessary right there. Heal your Kiriko. Heal. Yeah. Your positioning is not good. So this is bad. So what you should have done. You shouldn't have ever been in that position. You should have fallen back. Now, if you fall back to here, you'd still have your cooldowns. So what I would have done, okay, right here, what I would have done is right as I see the fight is about to start, I would have been right here throwing a healing orb so that it bounces on the point. It would bounce on this flat surface to that flat surface, and it would just stay with your team. Then from there, I would play around this pillar. So when the Junker Queen looks to start trying to shoot at me, I can hide. If she throws the knife at me, I can use this as a shield. If she gets me with the knife and tries to yank me, I'll bounce into the pillar instead of straight to her where I gotta teleport away. Then if she starts pressuring me behind the pillar, I can teleport to either back here, I could teleport to over here. But you see how you start giving yourself options. You give yourself escape routes. But when you're just over here and then you get yanked forward, now all of a sudden you gotta you teleport yourself maybe back to here, but all of a sudden you've got a Reaper coming this way. Now you don't have an escape route because you just used it off of bad positioning to get away from the Junker Queen. Do you see how bad positioning just screws everything up as opposed to having a plan, having an escape route? And then you die.
Coalescence charges.
Stop the payment.
Let shadow consume me.
Join me. Band together.
Grab those goons
Okay.
off the payload.
Don't use your healing juice here. Your Orisa needs to wait for your team. Just be patient. Get all together. You almost have Orisa ult. That could clear the point in its own merit. If you don't clear the point with Orisa ult for whatever reason, then you got to play for the Mei ult. But be cautious here because you need healing to let your Orisa engage. And this should all be communicated. Like, just, you know, play passive for a minute. Play passive for a minute. Yeah, this is getting chaotic. This feels like you guys just aren't communicating. Yeah, this just got too chaotic too quickly. The Orisa had the right idea, but they weren't patient about it, and because of that, it put you in a bad spot. It wouldn't have been a bad idea to try to bait out the Bastion turret form too. So now you guys got to play for the Mei ultimate.
Join me.
Your pain will be endless. My ultimate is ready. Join me.
Okay, I would not have engaged with your Moira ult. I would have waited for something to happen in this fight first, and then do it. Use it as an oh shit moment. Use it as a moment where like, oh shit, we're winning. Let me use this to really make, hammer it down that we are going to win this fight. That kind of a thing. Not just, I wouldn't have used this as an engage. If you were to use it as an engage, use it to pick off a support. Okay, you're healing a purple target. You can't heal this. So this would have been the one time to be going aggressive DPS Moira that you kind of have been doing a lot in this game. And now this is the one time where you could have done it and you're not doing it. So that's puzzling to me. I don't know. You guys are lacking patience here. And it's costing you space. Honestly, I would have said too, counter pick more in terms of your entire team. Like as soon as the Orisa used ultimate, I honestly would have would have looked for the Orisa to go Sigma. I think Sigma would have been a great pick here. Once Orisa used ult in overtime, because now you're in an oh shit, I gotta just start counter picking, just doing whatever gives me the most value. I don't think Orisa here gives good value now that the ultimate's been used. So just another thing to throw out there. Boy, you guys had all the tools to end this in so many different ways, and they're just not being utilized well. I'm just curious, what did your May see here? Because I'm not. Okay, so here's what I would have done. Ice wall first. If you're gonna use your ult right at this corner, throw an ice wall. Like right here. So then what they would have to do is come around here, and then you throw the May ult like right there. Think about that for a second. Yeah, they're gonna break the wall because Bastion's in turret form. You've got a Reaper point blank. You got Junker Queen point blank. Yeah, the wall will die, but that's not the point. The point is they're gonna get stalled right there for a little bit, and then they'll have the May ult, which they'll be frozen in, and then you can team wipe them, as opposed to this. And then they just walk out of it. The other thing is they do have Kiriko, right? So they might cleanse out of it anyway. And this is a little bit of bad coaching on my part, because I didn't take mental note that they had Kiriko, and you guys might not have either, just because of all the chaos going on, like kind of how I got just sucked into that too. But baiting out Suzu first and then throwing May ult might have been another thing to be paying attention to, but I didn't even pick up on that until just now. But yeah, good on them for going Kiriko, because that was a good play, knowing that you've been running May most of the game, being ready for that. Okay, that was a better Orisa ult, and that Orisa ult ended up how that Orisa ult just played out is how I would have expected the first one to go, but there was a patience factor not playing into it there that kind of just played into it more on that fight. So yeah.
Ready for.
Alright, so no, he's not picking again. That's really okay, I think I see what you were saying now about the throwing, because that's ridiculous. I mean, there's no reason to say you guys couldn't do what they just did. You actually have more time than they do. So it's like, what, to just sit there AFK and throw 25 minutes out the window is insane to me. People's mental states and their logic behind this is just crazy to me. Like, you're playing a ranked game, treat it as such. And this isn't to you. I'm talking about the guy who's not picking. Like, that's crazy. That's ridiculous. I hope you guys all reported him, and I hope he gets, you know, a suspension for that, because that's just crazy. So, does he ever pick? Okay, he picks here. We'll watch this, I guess. Oh, he's not even moving. So, okay, yeah, that's essentially the end of the game then. So, the key things to take out of this here is, one, I'm just going to say POS for positioning. Two, hero choices. And number three, I'll say division of labor. It felt like you were trying to off support instead of main heal at times when the division of labor swapped and you weren't cognizant of that. I'll put a fourth one on here. Ping / comms. Oops. Fix my M. There. It didn't feel, I did not get an impression you guys were using comms and pinging very well or much at all. So if I'm wrong on that, you know, you can correct me in the comments or something if you choose to. But these would be the four things I would really be looking at. You know, you could have gone Kiriko earlier. The Brig pick, wasn't a big fan of it. Your positioning, we covered that in, you know, mass detail as the game went on. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.